Hi, this is Mike Parkhill, lead engineer at Doc, and I'm here today to talk about Web3 ID and our integration with Auth0. So, why do we build Web3 ID? Fairly simple. We felt that with Web3 and the metaverse and the world moving towards more decentralization of things, we needed a better solution for authentication and for ID management, which is a space that's been well investigated with verifiable credentials and decentralized identifiers, but there's no real way to use those as a sign-in tool. They're not really great ways. So we built Web3 ID as a way to make sure that the user could have their privacy maintained. It allows you to choose a different identity to be used for different websites or for different aspects. So you could have a shopping identity, you could have a social media identity, you could have a work identity, school identity, whatever kind of thing. You can sort of help keep things separate, which is really, really powerful from a whole identity, privacy, and that kind of thing. Whereas sort of the traditional ways are, email based and you sign in with Google or you sign in with Facebook, whatever, but then that allows those companies to track everywhere you go and everything you sign into, which isn't ideal. And I think as the world moves more into Web3 and this whole decentralization idea, it's going to become more and more important that you can kind of control your own identity and who you are and not need to worry about where people are tracking you and what they know about you and what you're learning about you. So that's where Web3 ID comes in because it allows you to control that identity story to sort of say who gets to see what about me and when and how much of it and that kind of thing. So we've built Web3 ID, and in order to make Web3 ID more accessible, we've integrated with Auth0, which Auth0 has obviously got a massive marketplace, and this will make it easy for anyone using Auth0 to be able to use Web3 ID for their own applications to provide that privacy their users are looking for and are going to start expecting as time goes forward. So I'm just going to do a quick demo of how easy it is to set up, and then we'll go from there. So why don't I just jump into that? So first thing is you go into Auth0 and go to your applications page. As you can see here, I've got it up. I've got a couple applications I've already built in the past, but we'll create a new one. So just click the create application button. I'm just doing a regular web application. Obviously, if you're doing a mobile app or a single web page app, single page web app, whatever, you can choose those, but I'm just using regular web app. And I'll just give it a date so I know this is the one I'm doing right now. And hit create. All right, so this, as you see, provides you with a whole lot of options for things you can do. So here, Auth0 is really cool. They've given us a lot of sort of demo apps to get you started. So I chose the Next.js app. You can choose whatever fits for you if you're doing ASP.NET or if you're doing Go or Java, whatever. They've got, as you can see on this page, a whole lot of options. So just grab the one you want. Or if you already have your own code, you can build from there examples for that. But if you're just starting from scratch, use this. So like I said, I'm going to use the Next.js one and set that up. So you'll see me jump into that in a minute. So go to that. It just takes you to a GitHub repo. You can download the app there. So once you've got that on your side, then we'll go to settings. And here you can see the name I already entered, a domain. So this is your Auth0 domain. So if you already have an Auth0 account, you're probably familiar with this. You'll see that there. And then this client ID and client secret are for this new app. So I just created the My App August 31st, and I've got this client ID and this client secret. So these are going to be important. So you're going to have to copy those. All right, we'll do that in a minute. But first, we have to add a couple more details. Down here in the allowed callback URLs for my app, they happen to be very simple. And I'm running this on localhost, so I'll just copy these in. So this is just where Auth0 calls back to as you go through the sign-in flow. You can also add logout URLs, that kind of thing, as you want to do it fully. For full details, obviously read the Auth0 documentation. They cover this all really, really well. But just to get this going, I'll do the bare minimum, and you can change timeouts, that kind of stuff too. So we'll save that. All right, those are saved. All right, so now we're going to grab those client IDs and client secrets, and we're going to copy them into our project that we downloaded. So let me just pull that up on the screen. All right, so I just copy the client ID, put that in there. I've already put in my domain, so you'll see on this line here, this is the domain that was displayed back on this screen right here. So that's one in there already. And then I'll copy the client secret and put that in here. And now the Auth0 configuration part is actually done. That's pretty simple as far as the website goes. There's a couple more things that would actually set up the Web3 ID connection now. So let's go do that. So to do that, I like to go at it through the marketplace. You can find it just by searching for Web3. And right now we come up as the first one, which is awesome. You click on that, doc Web3 ID. And here's details about what the Web3 ID integration is. You can read all about that. And here's the installation notes. So everything I'm talking about here is covered in this installation page. I'm going to sort of skip through it fairly quickly, but you can always refer back to that when you get to the marketplace. And you can look at that there. So the first thing we need to do is we want to add this integration. So you click the add integration button. It tells you a little bit of what we're going to have access to, what we're going to do, which we don't have access to much, which is awesome. And then again, there's another client ID and client secret on this page. So these are client ID and client secret you got from Doc. So that means you have to go and do a simple REST query, post request to get it. So let me show you that one. So I've just got it saved here. As you can see, it takes a name. So this is the name of your application. We don't really use this for anything other than just sort of keeping things separated on our side. And then where your website's hosted, so we know where that is. And then redirect URI. So this is, again, where you're calling back to an Auth0. So it'll, again, look something like your Auth0 domain /login/callback. So that should be basically what you have. To post, expecting JSON to this address here, which again, this is all documented in that installation page. So we'll send that, and we'll get back a client ID and a client secret. So now we go back to Auth0, and we type those in. There we go. And then you have a choice. So the only two things that we right now will share with your application is the user's email and the user's name. Both of them are optional. You can choose to actually not have either. So I'm going to say I want both email and name. You can turn off the sync user attributes at each login and then hit create. And now you can see that Doc Web3 ID has been added to the list of social connections that you have configured in Auth0. Now this is now showing me the list of all the applications I have. Web3 ID right now isn't turned on for all of them, so let's turn it on for the one I just added. Simple enough. All right, so that is all set up. So Auth0 is set up. We should be good to go. If I go back to my code, which I've already got this running, but I can just get this running again. Simple again, just run the demo app. Starts the server. Go back to our browser. So let's go to our Next.js demo app. Again, this is just the vanilla demo app from Auth0. All I changed was those env config files. So you can see, we're just very simple, very basic. We click on the login button. And it shows us continue with Doc Web3 ID as a login option. Obviously, if you've got other login options like Google or whatever, they'd show up on this list too, but we just have the one, so you'll see continue with Doc Web3 ID. We'll click on that. And here it brings up this QR code. So now we need to scan that with our phone. So let me bring out my phone. And then we'll hit scan down here. So this is the Doc app, if you haven't seen it before. You can download it in both Android and iOS stores. And you click on scan. And let's see if we got that in there. There we go, that's scanned. Now you can see it's already got my email pre-filled. I've used this before. If you have it, it'll show up. And then you can choose which identity you want to use. So here I've only got two. You can have as many as you want. You can create multiple DIDs in our app, or multiple identities, which DIDs represent an identity. So you can have one, again, the idea of an identity for shopping, an identity for social, an identity for work, whatever. You can choose whichever one you want. I'll just grab the first one here and hit approve. And now this is in the background doing a whole sign-in process, revealing very little about you other than that identifier, the DID, and the email, which was there. And there we are signed in. And that's basically it. That's all you need to do. So really simple, as you can see. A few things are set up on the Auth0 connections page and the applications pages. One request to get client ID and client secret from us, which is pretty easy to do. And that's it. You've got your application enabled with Web3 ID. Your users are now in control of which sites know about them and what they know about them. And it gives the power back to your users. So a lot more powerful and really a big step forward in the Web3 space. So yeah, hopefully that works for you. And thanks for listening.